We from the yard where the champs don't sleep. Bloodline real, the roots run deep. The powerhouse Claus, all muscle and tone. Champion tractor for perfection shown. She's that chocolate color perfection. But Kinna's got that smooth connection. She, the world legend. Shine so bright.
Good evening, everybody.
We taking
Here
flights.
we are.
We don't play around. Brazil to the States, we shut it down. Drip too clean, our boots too loud. Talk that talk, we made the crowd proud. That's summer talk. Summer talk.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to make sure that I turn the music down this time because last time I didn't know the music was too loud when I was talking. Sorry about that. As I said, I'm learning with you. Happy Thursday night.
Good evening.
Everybody here. I want to wait a little bit for everybody to join us. We are live on YouTube right now. We're live on Facebook. And we're live on Instagram. Good evening, everybody that's watching us. This is the Samba family live for you. One more night of American Bully Talk, Brazilian Bulls Talk. And good night to all the community that's watching us, supporting us, hating on us, whatever you're doing right here. Thank you for being here with us. I'm going to try to read some of the comments because sometimes we get too many comments and I don't keep up. Old School Nick, thank you for being with us because he's always here, always supporting us. Happy Thursday, everyone. Looking forward to Samba Kennels story time. Let's go. Everyone on Instagram is also watching us. 808 Bulldoggies. I cannot read everyone, but I'm going to try to read the ones that comment. Subito Monster Bulls, hello. Lipão from Brazil, hi Lipão, oi Lipão. Pitbull Planet join, my friend Felipe that does all the news. Pitbull Planet is the guy responsible for throwing all the news about the bully community in Brazil. Felipe, my good friend, thank you for all the support for the Brazilian Bulls worldwide. I'm here trying to read without my glasses. I can do EBDMC Samba family. Let's go. Very good, you guys. How is everybody doing tonight? I want to know. Good evening, Oscar, Florida, Samba, Florida. How are you doing? You have a new look, sir. Look at those glasses, looking good.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you're tired. Oscar just had 11 puppies, right?
5 females, 5 males, 6 females.
5 males and 6 females.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yeah.
We have beautiful Bitello and Nebula. Nebula is a daughter of Nathan. Nathan is a freak. He's a huge dog from the Chevy lines. Am I right, Vito? Good evening, Vito. How are you?
I think he has Chevy, but I think he's got a lot of Viet Shark.
Viet Shark, yes, that's it.
Foundation, a lot of the foundation. But
beautiful female, beautiful structure, perfect balance for the hugeness of Bitello. If you guys don't know, Bitello is 163 pounds at a year and a half, not even that. Bitello is a pied dog, meaning he's mostly white. He's a lilac tri-pied, meaning he's a tri, but he's mostly white. And she's a red sable. She's almost a lilac, actually. She's a beautiful color. And they threw not one white puppy. A lot of people don't like the white dogs because they might throw a lot of white. And once you have a lot of white, it's a little harder to wash it, to bring it back, the solid colors. But Bitello and Nebula, beautiful, 11 solid colors. They are either lilac, tris, and sables. All of them very similar color, beautiful. The heads are ridiculous. I just saw the picture today of how I haven't seen them in a few days. And when Oscar showed me, I'm saying, my God, if I had to choose which one, I wouldn't know, because even though they're very young, the heads are incredibly round, the dome, beautiful, beautiful, consistent looks. in all of the 11 puppies. Congratulations, Oscar, Samba, Florida, for the Vitello and Nebula. We do have some spots available. Actually, we just sold one today. Thank you, Juan, that just closed one more. And we did sell another Puma and Knuckles puppy yesterday. Congratulations, Lauren and Ryan Samba South. Beautiful puppies from Puma and Knuckles. And that's another situation. We have 2 black dogs, and we have a lot of blues and sables and lilacs. And do we have lilac? No, we don't have a lilac. We have chocolates and we have blacks. How are you, Lauren? How are you? We can't hear you,
Lauren.
I fixed it. I had it muted.
There you go.
I'm good. We're good. Everything is going great. We're just trying to get it all together. I wasn't up here because I was feeding puppies. So now that that's done, hopefully they will be quiet and happy for the next couple of hours.
I can imagine. They're beautiful, by the way. We posted a little video on YouTube on the shorts showing each one of them. Congratulations for the beautiful video. She's really becoming a Samba partner, guys, because she's just killing in the marketing. I love it. I really love it. And they're beautiful. Congratulations on the sale from yesterday too.
Thank you.
My dear Tony and Didi, how are you guys doing? Samba Red River.
We're doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, always enjoy Thursday evenings.
It's always fun. I look forward for Thursday evening just to be here with you guys, to be here with these people that I consider my family. We've been having such a great time working together. And it's almost like I was so closed and working by myself and tired. And now I feel that everything just bloomed with them. They help me. They give me ideas. We exchange information. It's a learning, guys. It's an everyday learning. I always told everybody, it's so much easier to grow when you have partners. It's so much easier to grow and multiply in more people than just, being selfish and I should have done this a long time ago. And I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it helps to have a family behind you. You can kind of get a little bit stale, you just kind of feel like you're just standing still for a little bit, and you get that text or you get that little phone call, and it just kind of motivates you and just gets you fired up and want to just keep going.
Yeah, I feel good that I know that I'm helping you guys, but
Absolutely.
You guys don't know how much you're helping me. You guys have no idea.
It's mutual.
And this is what it's all about.
Glad to be part of the team for sure.
Hey, Vito, how are you doing, Mr. Midwest?
I'm here, tired. I worked.
You have a litter, right, of bulldogs right now?
Yeah, it's just 5 puppies.
How are they doing?
Fat. They're growing too fat.
What color have you got there?
I think they're 2 or 3 weeks. How old are Lauren's puppies? 4 weeks?
No, 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, they'll be 3 weeks on Monday.
Okay, yeah, mine's coming up on 2 weeks.
Are you gonna keep them all? Because I know you like to keep all your puppies.
No, I gotta watch it now because I'm gonna have to start keeping some of these Brazilian dogs eventually in the litter.
Right.
So yeah, I'll keep one.
Awesome.
The male I use.
So if anybody's interested in American Bulldogs, guys, Mr. Vito, the legend, he has a litter.
I think I have them all sold, all except maybe one.
Oh, sorry about that.
I got one with the tail.
Sorry about it. We're glad to hear it.
Yeah, that's great. Guys, so today I want to just say hi here to a few more people that are here in the chat. Hothead Bulls 940. Thank you for the claps. Hello from Oregon, Martin Gonzalez, Arceo. Hello, Oregon. What a great state, beautiful state. Debbie Utes, Miss Ori and Vito. Hello. I hope I pronounced your name right. Is that how you pronounce it, guys? Debbie?
Die by Utes.
I think it's died by Utes.
Die by Utes. That's difficult for me. Hit the like button. Yes, that's it. Please hit the like button. Awesome. What's up, everyone? Virgil McVeigh. Virgil was here the last time, wasn't you, Virgil? What's up, everyone? Thanks for coming back. Hector Vargas from La Familia. What's up, Bully Fam? Love from La Familia. See, I remember your kennel name, Hector. What's up, buddy? La Familia. Let us know where you're from, Hector. Which state? Hello from Oregon in American Bulldog. I'm an American Bulldog guy, and I love the Brazilian Bulls. Oh, another American Bulldog. Fuerson American Bulldogs 3096. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the live tonight. So, guys, from Instagram, you're going to have to forgive me because sometimes my Instagram comments, they don't show to me. And when they do show, they are already gone because I'm a little slow and I need my glasses to read it. Good evening, PG Bullies. Good afternoon, Thoroughbred Bullies. Everyone, hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you, you too. Canil CDN, Brazilian Bull. Boa noite, galera. Boa noite, galera. That means good evening, galera. Good evening, everyone. Cactus Bully Farm. Let's go, Samba. Let's go, Cactus. Thank you for joining us. So today we're going to talk about a little bit of the origin of how a little bit of my story connected to the I'm going to turn down the music to make sure that everybody's listening. Okay. How my story started as a breeder, coming here to America, of course, and how we started the Brazilian Bulls wave back in 2020, 2021. If you do have some questions as we go, I'm going to try to read them. But before I want to start with the Samba family, I'm sure that each one of you guys have a question for me. I would rather that you ask me questions than, because I think a lot of people know, just to make it short, I am from Brazil myself. My name is Aurea Giacomelli from Brazil. I've been living in the US for 6 years. And I am a Dogo Argentino breeder. I bred Dogos, which is a hunting dog, for 20 years. And one day I got a little tired. I have many champions. I have some grand champions. I have dogs exported to 70 plus countries in the world. And something that just got tiring. You know, I have Westminster champions here. When I moved to America, I was still breeding them. And two of my dogs, I entered them in Westminster. So actually, they were invited because it's invitation only. One was invited, one was invited and entered and accepted. And they won first female and second female of the show. So it just got tiring. You know, like I needed something that wasn't so high maintenance when it comes to energy, because they were fighters. They fight every other living being in the yard. And I'm getting older, and I said, hey, I need something that I can actually handle, that has, you know, that is more docile. They are amazing dogs. The dogs are super loving to the owners, but they are a big liability. If you have any issues with them, they will never buy a person, especially my dogs. They were extremely human loving. But the first day that I moved here to my house that I bought, two of our dogs jumped the fence and they bit the nuts of the neighbor's donkey. Oh my God. So yeah, so we had a problem right there, and I'm like, oh my God, these dogs, you know, they find a way. But anyways, just I decided to change, and I had a lot of contact with the XL American Bullies, because in 2018, when I was transporting a lot of bullies between America and Europe, I get to meet them. I actually transported a couple of bossy dogs. I transported a couple of swag dogs, and I fell in love with them. And once I lived here, I was already living here, My friend Mojib from Animal Logistics, by the way, one of the best transporters for ground and cargo for animals, for dogs. His name is Mojib Alomri, and his company is Animal Logistics, animal.logistics on Instagram. He's one of my best friends. We've known each other for more than 10 years. And he also works with transport. So when I moved here, he was doing a lot of transports from America. That was the time that Bossy was shipping a lot of dogs to the UK, to Europe. And he asked me for my help. Not only Bossy, but when I moved here, there was already a boom of XLs. It was right after the COVID 2020, around 2020, 2021. And I hosted a lot of XL's puppies here in my house. Some puppies, some a little older, because we would do the paperwork to ship these dogs to the UK. And Mojib was mainly doing the transport. I was just helping him. And I just fell in love with the XLs. That's how I actually got to meet them and say, hey, I really love the XLs. I love how they are beautiful. They're docile. They're intelligent. And they play with the ball. I always wanted to have a dog that plays with the ball. My dog was never liked playing ball, And I would throw them and they would be looking at me and just happy. They don't understand ball. But if there's a pig running in front of them, then you forget them. But anyways, really love the XLs. I was very lucky because of my transports. I was able to meet beautiful dogs from different kennels. I had one day, I think 13 or 15. I have a video. I'm going to post it one of these days. I had about 15 puppies from different breeders from all over the states that were going to be shipped by cargo to Europe. And they were beautiful and they were also very stable, like all of them. All of them have the same type of temperament, even though they were a little older. There were some of them that were 4 months, some of them were 7 months, some of them were a year, and they all had the same stability in their minds. And I said, these dogs are everything that I love because they're big. I never really liked smaller dogs. They're stunning. They're beautiful. Their colors are exotic. And you guys, I've been breeding for 20 years and all I see was white dogs. I was tired of having a litter and everything you see is white, white, white. And then all of a sudden in not one litter, you see a black tri, a merle, and that was very exciting for me. And when I get to actually understand their temperaments, I said, hey, I think this is the breed. So I told my friend Mojib, hey, Mojib, find a good XL for me because I'm buying one. That was, I think, 2020. And he said, no, you're not buying. Just stay in your dogos. You do your dogos so well. Don't get into the bully lane. And I said, I'm going to get into the bully lane and I'm going to be one of the best breeders. You will see. And he's like, oh, I don't doubt it, but stay where you are. And he used to joke with me, And one day I had a request from Lucas Pitt in Brazil. Lucas Pitt Kennel. Already I had done a couple of transports for him because I work with transportation, like I said before. So I was bringing some dogs from Brazil to America already. And he sold the dog to a breeder called Adam Spit. Very good people, I think Tennessee or Kentucky. And then he said, Aurea, it's time that I buy an American bully to bring to Brazil because I want to bring some colors. They were breeding the pit monsters there. They were called pit monsters at that time. And they had a lot of reds, a lot of, blues, just solid colors. So Lucas said, I need to bring color. Can you find a breeder? And he wanted to buy a bossy dog. And Lucas said, but I don't have the money. And he said to me, I'm going to buy one, but I don't have the money to buy a bossy dog. And I said, well, maybe you can find something that has the bossy bloodline, the bossy look, but from a smaller breeder, so you don't have to pay as much. Because mind you guys, Lucas was not famous at that time. Plus the money was always a lot harder. In Brazil, we have the coin is like 4, 5, 6 times sometimes cheaper than America. And it's not just that; it's the economy is very, very bad. So Lucas said, "I don't care. I'm gonna sell my car." He had, I think, a Land Rover. Is that how you say it? Land Rover or Range Rover? And he sold it. He sold it to buy a dog that I found for him with a breeder called Justin at Top XL Bullies. Top XL Bullies. And why did I know that breeder? Because he was one of the breeders that had dogs here, puppies here in my house. So the puppies that were here in my house that were being transported, I was the one actually taking care of them for 3 or 4 days while the USDA paperwork was being made by Mojib. They were here. I was taking care of them. And I had all the details of every breeder. So I would, text them and take a picture and say, hey, your puppy's okay. Here he is. We're taking good care. This is a picture of everybody here. But anyways, just keeping them updated. That's how I had the contact of all these breeders, And so a few months later, I contacted a couple of breeders that Lucas, kind of told me the price range and what he was looking for. So I contacted Justin from Top Excel, and Justin was in Ohio. And he said, I asked him, do you have puppies, that I'm looking for a puppy to Brazil for a friend of mine, Lucas Pitt. Do you have anything that would fit this budget? And he said, yes, I have a couple of puppies from this litter. The litter was Bigfoot, Boss's Bigfoot, and Sugar Rush, Top Dog Sugar Rush. Beautiful litter. They're also cute. They're also beautiful in their faces. It's impossible not to fall in love with an American Bully puppy, especially when they're so perfect. So I helped him choose between the two. I didn't really like one. I thought the muzzle was way too short. The eyes were too round. And I kind of went with my experience in Dogo Argentino, what I liked about the other one. And Lucas had the first pick out of the two. So he selected that boy. That boy was imported by my company. I helped Lucas buy him. I negotiated with Justin because Justin already knew me, so he did a good price for him. It was nice. I think it was his first export to Brazil, of course, because there was no other American Bully there from the recent times. So Lucas Pitt imported the dog from this kennel, and 2 months later, I was looking for another puppy for another client. And I checked with Justin. Well, that client didn't work out. But then I saw in his website that the second pick from that litter from Bigfoot and Sugar Rush, that second puppy had never been sold. 2 or 3 months later, he was already 5 months old. Well, that puppy, I said to him, and I said, he's still there, and he was looking so amazing. The one that I didn't like, the one with the short muzzle and the round eyes. And I said, he's still there. He said, yes, he is. Nobody wants him. And I said, oh my God, I think I want him. I love him. And that's my boy, Chuck Norris. That's with us since he was born in October 2020. So I got him in March 2021. So he's been with us for 5 years. And he's the most amazing pet I could ever ask for. That's how my story started in the XL Bullies. Okay. Now,
Was the male that got shipped to Brazil, was that Wonka?
Yes, that was King Wonka. That was King Wonka.
Wonka and Chuck Norris are litter mates, huh?
They're litter mates, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that is the funny thing about this story, because King Wonka, being the grandfather of Shake that I helped choose, because Lucas didn't really have a clue about choosing those dogs. He didn't know what he was looking for. He just wanted the color. And so I am deeply involved in the selection, the first generation selection for Shake. And I'm so happy that I participated in this trajectory of Lucas, I saw every step of the way. And then Shake ends up being in my house for a year. So it meant a lot to me, a lot more than anything. You know, people don't know that part of the story. So this is one of the untold stories about Samba Kennels, how we started this connection between Brazil and US. But then I needed a female. And because of my transportations, I had already transported about 3 or 4 dogs from Brazil to here. I had transported a lot of American bullies to other countries, but not many from Brazil to here. There's only like 3 or 4. Adam Spit, a lady in Florida, and a couple to Swag Kennels that I can remember. And then I said, okay, I really like the way these dogs look in Brazil. I want a female, but I don't want a female from here. I think I want a female from Brazil. I like the way they look. They are a little different. But at that time, I didn't really know what was catching my eyes. You know, I was still learning everything. Everything was very different from me. Even though with all my experience, my eye was very habituated to understanding my breed, Dogo Argentino, you know, even stacking. I stack my bullies like I stack my Dogos until today. You know, when you do this for so long that you get habits. So even for choosing a dog, you know, I still was choosing dogs based on what I learned all this year. But it helped. I guess it helped. Look where I am now. Look at the selections that I've made. So it added a lot, but I did make a lot of mistakes, and we're going to talk about it too. So there was an opportunity for me to bring a female called Bartolina. For the guys that follow me for some time, you probably know she was a chocolate tri. And I wanted to bring a dog already pregnant. I don't really like inbreedings, daughter to father. I know that they can be amazing when you get something amazing, you get something really amazing, something like extraordinary. But I try to not do it too much because I just think that on a scale, the risks are bigger than the benefits. Like you can have a chance of having amazing things, but you can also have chances of having problems. So I try to stay away from direct inbreeding. But there was an opportunity for me to bring Bartolina bred by her sire. And guess what her sire was? For everybody that knows a little bit of the Brazilian pit monsters, her sire was Aiken. If you don't know who Aiken is, unfortunately, he just passed, owned by Lucas from New Red Kennel. Lucas is one of my best friends. He's one of my mentors in Brazil, and he's also going to be live with us in the near future to talk a little bit about the Brazilian Bull's origins with a Brazilian breeder point of view. So Lucas offered me, he said, hey, I have a daughter of Aiken pregnant from her father. Do you want her? I was actually going to bring another female. That didn't work out. And then he offered me this one. And I said, okay, because I was already so excited about bringing the other one, but it didn't work out. So I brought Bartolina pregnant from Aiken. The funny thing was, she was, I think I've talked about this a few times. She was a chocolate tri, and Aiken was a lilac tri. So I asked my mentor, Lucas, what colors are they going to be? And he said, 100%, either chocolate tries or lilac tries. And I said, okay, good. So when they are born, and she had them naturally, and she had them amazingly, like she was the best bitch I've ever had. She had the best temperament to take care of a litter, and she not only took care of her litter, sometimes she would take care of other moms' litters when they didn't have milk. She would start producing milk just by listening to puppies crying because they were hungry. That's how good of a mother she was. And Bartolina had her first litter here. Second litter here. She had one in Brazil. Delivered them all by herself, take care of them. And when I see the puppies, guys, there were 4 white puppies, but they were not really white. I think we talked about this before. They were a silver color white. And then I called Lucas and I said, do you have any white dogs in your yard? Because I think this girl, she's not pregnant by Aiken. I think she has more, she has more than one sire, a dual sire. He said, Oria, no, I guarantee to you, she's bred by Aiken. I don't know what that is. I'm going to research. Well, I sent DNA tests. Then he told me that it was probably, they were probably platinums or, a cream color or a pied, but they were all white, all like silver, pinkish color. So I sent DNA color tests to UC Davis. UC Davis has one of the best color panels that, better than anybody's. I do recommend for color UC Davis. And they described all the 4 puppies. Well, it ends up that I actually had 2 chocolate platinums and 2 lilac tri-platinums. I mean, they were tries because both parents were tri, so they were tries. We just couldn't see it because of the pheomelanin, which is the expression of the light color that washes out the 10 points. And that's it. So I have these 4 puppies that are considered lilac platinums and chocolate platinums, or everyone was selling lilac or platinum merles. And then I studied it and I figured out that there's no such thing as platinum merles. But what I had in my yard was a real platinum because they both carried the cream gene, because she was the daughter of the sire, meaning she carried the sire passed to her the cream gene, meaning that they produced 1/3 of the litter with the cream gene expressed, and that's called a platinum. And I thought I was so impressed and so proud. My marketing was, I am the only one with the platinum XL American Bullies in the world, because they were registered as American Bully, right? And I looked and I looked and I never seen other platinums. I think I found another 2 or 3 puppies that were platinums at that time, but it took me a long time. I actually never found them. They found me because they started seeing me promoting these platinum puppies. And then somebody said, hey, you're not the only one. I've got a litter of platinum puppies too. And I said, oh, that's really cool. But unfortunately, that litter didn't really turn out how I wanted. And this is when I say to you guys, when you inbreed, you have great chances of having problems. And not that they were problematic, they were amazing puppies, but they phenotypically, I lost a lot of bone and I lost a lot of size and weight. The girls were like 18 inches tall. The boys were like, I had a big boy. I think he was about 20, 21. And then the other boy was smaller. And all the other ones are all girls, and they were very, very small. So in height, okay, in bone, they look like American Pit Bull Terriers. And this is because I was inbreeding and everything that was, American Pit Bull Terrier from these 2 lines just popped. So that's it. That's how I had my first XL American Bully. It was actually a Brazilian Bull litter, guys, in 2021, May 2021. My first American Bully, but Brazilian Bull litter. It was registered as American Bully because at that time we didn't even dream about having Brazilian Bulls. All we knew that they were called was pit monsters. And for everybody, they were just the equivalent of the XLs over here.
What was the first, when you lived in Brazil, did you know about the pit monster? Did you ever see a pit monster?
No.
You were like, when you started importing them, then you saw.
No idea. I had an exotic breeder. Actually I did. I'm sorry. I did some transports when I was still living in Brazil. My first transport was Bossy Kennels, 2 lilac puppies. They were champagne at the time. They weren't even lilac tries. They were champagne registered. They were lilacs, but they were champagne registered. And it was 2 puppies from Bossy that we traveled from California to Madrid. And I fell in love with them right there, I fell in love with them. I said, damn, they're so different. They are like, for me, they look like doggos, but with a lilac color and the blue eyes. And they said, this is so rare. This is so exotic, you know? But in Brazil, back in Brazil, I knew the exotics were starting to get really big. The exotics were really big, but they called them pockets at that time.
Sorry, I'm out 1 minute, Aurea. 1 minute.
Okay. So let me read. Tennessee tri-colored bullies. How's it going, Tennessee? Thank you for joining. How are you doing, sir?
Aria, I noticed.
Did you ever see Bearzilla in person?
No, I didn't. I didn't see him, but I saw a video of him just recently, like at 11 years old. The person that was hosting him, living with him, he FaceTimed me because we met one day and I said, hey, I know you have Bearzilla. I really want to see him. So he FaceTimed with me and he showed me great shape, even for 11 years old. What a beautiful dog. I heard Bearzilla was a very sweet dog, very sweet. I think he's still alive, right? He's still alive.
Yeah, I think I've seen some recent videos of him, I believe. Vito would probably know better.
Yeah, Lavon put together some little, I don't know if somebody sent it to her, she put it together, but.
I do have a couple of videos that are private, I cannot show, but because it was sent in confidentiality in a small group chat of breeders that I have from Brazil. But I have a couple of videos when he was on his prime, just a couple of videos of him moving and stuff, you know, beautiful dog. And the funny thing is, guys, I didn't like how they looked. I didn't like how they looked at first. One of the first dogs, the pit monster look because I met, okay, this is important that I mention. My friend Lucas Elhost from New Red Kennel, the kind of pit monsters that he bred in the southern part of Brazil, what they were breeding were much more similar to American bullies. We actually have more influence in the south of Brazil of the American bully pockets Dax line that was imported to Brazil. And that's what he was working with. So for me, it was very similar to what I was seeing here. They had there, and that's the first people that I had contact with. It was him, and then it was Lucas Pitt that was asking me for an American bully. But Lucas Pitt had a dog that for me, at that time, I used to think he was too weird. For me, the eyes were close together because I didn't understand at that time. And the cheekbones were, the apple cheeks and the head and everything was too extreme. His name was Hurricane. And look at you, Hurricane. I look at him and I think he's gorgeous now. We get used to that look, you know. It's what I always say. We get used to it.
I thought the same thing. I don't know if you know Patrick Bates. He's kind of my go-to. He's got pictures and he knows everything about the XLs and all the big pit bull type dogs. And he would send me stuff because he really liked the Brazilian dogs. But I think he's the first one that sent me Bearzilla. And I liked him, but I thought, that muzzle's a little weird. But now I really love it. But I actually like the XLs, like bossy dogs. They have a more box muzzle as opposed to, and sometimes I think when I first saw it, I thought, it has a pit type taper to his muzzle. But now I'm thinking it's because they got these big, like brainiac muscle, skull and cheeks. Right. But yeah, when I first saw him, I thought, he's a cool dog. It got a great body, but it's a little weird, a little odd looking at his muzzle and.
But we have to express something, and we do have a lot of purists in Brazil too. And when you say purists, we say some of the breeders. There's like two segments of breeders in Brazil. The ones that stuck with the red dogs, usually the ones that came from the Camelots, and they did not accept the new type of Brazilian bulls, which means the extremes, the dogs that have insertion of bulldogs, especially. And there is this division in the breed right now. And some of these guys, they swear to God that Brazila is 100% no bulldog. There's another part of the breeders that swears that they know that Brazila has some insertion of bulldog because of the owner. That, anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't really know the story. I don't want to go in that.
I've gone into a deep. I tried to go into a deep dive, but of course you can't really do too much because the pedigrees don't go back that far. But and I've had several people. They get upset. They're like, "Oh, there's American Bulldog in there." I'm like, "Well, it doesn't show up on the pedigree, and I really don't see it. I don't see American Bulldog in him."
Well, the thing is,
big red pit bulls that gargoyle and Viet Shark, and it's like a variation of them.
But also we have to remember the Brazila is recent. Like the story behind the pit monsters, it started many generations before. So the base, there's a lot of important dogs to the base, and it's very saturated, I would say. Like the gene pool is very small, but there's a lot of dogs behind Brazila. Brazila is even like recent. He's still alive. You know, if we talk, and this is why I want to talk to Lucas from New Red Kennel, because he understands a lot of the history of dogs that started to form the pit monsters. And he's not biased. Like, he understands the importance of Brazila, but he also understands the importance of dogs that I don't even know the name. And even Dax. Dax is also in the base of some of the pit monsters, the ones that are more similar to American Bully.
They're like cash pot. That's why Claus is like totally different than Shake and Tractor. He doesn't have Bearzilla. He doesn't have any American Bulldog. He has those correct. Like original big. I don't even know what they are. That's why when we do an interview with your friend, that's what I want to ask him. You know, Thompson. I don't know I have no idea what Thompson is. Maybe in Brazil it's a big thing, or maybe it's a big thing here, and people know it here in the United States. But I can't. Thompson
is a line of pits that I guess
I haven't seen deep pedigrees to see what they are, where they came from.
He told me the name of the base, of the American base, recently, but Mr. Thompson was the one that started importing these dogs, and he will tell you for sure. That's going to be a very interesting episode. Let me just read a few more comments here so I don't forget, and you guys can think about the next question. Hector from Wisconsin, an hour from Earl. Oh, nice, Wisconsin. Is that close to you, Vito?
Not too far. Yeah, it's probably about 8 hours.
Oh, no, not too far. Okay, no, I thought it was like 1 or 2 hours. What's up from Samba family? That's Moreno. Moreno, are you Ish? Just tell me that you're Ish, because every time I see Moreno, I think you're Ish. And if you're Ish, I know who you are. Moreno's from the Sumo family. Thank you for the love.
Yeah.
Is that Ish?
I think it is, but
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just watched Sumo live yesterday.
On the map. You and Claus. We're going to talk about Claus in a little bit. Ernesto Enriquez. Good evening, everyone. Excited to learn more about this breed and amazing specimens. Puma Knuckles. Yes, Enrique. Oh, you're Ernesto. He has Puma and Knuckles puppy. Thank you for being here with us.
Male. Yep.
Yes. Which one is this? Fifth pick male, right?
Yeah, he's getting the male.
Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, Ernesto. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it. Very soon, as soon as these puppies are all out of here, because I have 21 puppies here now, I'm starting to do a way of having a raffle for my members of my beautiful merchandise that I'm going to have to show you guys what Sultan did to my favorite cat. Look at this, you guys. I left it on the table and he got it. I guess he said, "Oh, that's my grandpa. Let's play with it.
That's
So
the style nowadays. It's okay. That one will bring more money. Yeah, that's the style.
Yes, I want to put together a little basket, and I'm gonna find a way of doing a raffle to the members of the channel. So if you want to join, I want to do a T-shirt, a sweatshirt, a cup, and maybe a hat with whoever wins with the favorite dog or just with the Samba logos. Okay. Thank you again for being a new member, Ernesto. Let's see. Jonathan Lugo. Dear Jonathan Lugo, we have a senior ABKC senior judge here from Colombia. Hello, Jonathan. Hola, mi amigo. Gracias por venir.
Está pasando, parcero, el Jonathan.
¿Lo conoces,
Bienvenidos.
Oscar? You know him.
Bienvenidos. Mucho
No,
gusto.
I don't know him. Just saying.
You don't know him.
No.
Oscar is from Colombia too, Jonathan. Jonathan he's amazing. I love talking to him. We did a live about the Brazilian Bulls one day. Very respected, very knowledgeable judge, and also American Bulldog breeder, if I'm not mistaken, right, Vito?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Who we have here? Mareda was one of my favorite studs. Mareda, which one is that? Is that from Enrique? I think that's from Enrique Mareda. Tell me if I'm not mistaken. I think that's from a guy that lives here. Ish, there, that's it. Hi, Ish. Polly Dog Pound. Big Aroha from New Zealand. Love the wisdom shared here. Thank you so much, Polly from New Zealand, to being here. Abdullah. Preach, Aria, preach. That's my friend and client. Bravo Bulls, Mareda, father to animal. That's true. That's true, Adam. Is this Adam from Adam's Pit? Is this my friend Adam's here? No. No, Jason. Jason is from Adam's Pit. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. See, these people know more than I do. And from YouTube, hello, Aria. Hello, Monique Du Gantunga. FS Borges, I don't understand because I can't read it. What a good media, blah, 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 in Portuguese. Let me see. I'm going to have to translate. What a good media won't do to a dog. Here, I don't understand anything, but I'm watching a live and I'm trying to learn. Very good. Okay, guys, let's go to the next question. Thank you so much for the love, everyone. I think I'm doing a good job reading you guys' messages. I'm trying to, anyways. Who has a next question? Oscar, do you have a question for me?
Well, you say you were gonna talk about your mistakes. Which one do you think will be like the worst, the biggest mistake, breeding or I don't know?
The biggest mistake maybe was a mistake, but at the same time, the mistakes is what makes us stronger. That's a very good question, by the way. I think that the main mistake that I made was trusting the wrong people in the beginning and believing that I needed people to help me when I actually didn't. Well, the wrong people. I just trusted the wrong people, you know. I think that was my biggest mistake. I don't want to even talk about it, but I waste a lot of time with people that I guess they saw my talent at the time and they saw that they could get something from me. And then they try to take me out of the scene, but it didn't happen. You know, they used my dogs and they didn't, you know, and the funny thing is that were people that were close to me. I guess that's what hurts the most, because I actually am a very genuine person, and I do try to be, you know, like I always said to you guys, I trust people very easily, or I used to, and I did believe that I was starting a good community, a good some partnerships, but we learn, you know, and that's what Earl always said. that I told him, and I said, hey, you got to be very careful in this community, because you're going to find some people that they want to see you doing well, but never better than you. And there you're just going to have to be very careful. And he thanks me today because he saw a few things that I think that's a mistake that most of us will, commit in any area of your life. I mean, when you're, starting in a new environment, especially because I'm an alien woman in a man's world, and an immigrant, so people took advantage of that. But that didn't stop me. That just made me stronger. And I'm here.
Aria, and on the breeding side with dogs, like a mistake that you think you you wouldn't have do it, like I don't know, like how you say that? ¿Cómo se dice cruza? Como una cruza que no hiciste. Eh, like a female and a male that you put together and you change your mind after you thought it was a mistake or a purchase you did or something and on the breeding side that you wouldn't do.
My only mistake was to keep going against what I always wanted. I should have just focused on the Brazilian dog since the get-go. And I did some breedings with American dogs, and I invested in some American females. And knowing today, not that I absolutely love the American bullies. I absolutely loved having those American bully, 100% American bully puppies. But parallel to those breedings, I had my eyes and my soul in the Brazilian dogs already. I knew that that's what I really wanted to do. So I kind of wasted time. I could have put my time, my money, and my effort and my energy into the Brazilian dogs all the way, since that's always what I wanted to do. But like I said, with these partnerships and these, surrounded by certain people, I was influenced in doing some other things because they were opportunities for me to do. And I do not regret doing them, because I also learned a lot about the XL bully, and I learned a lot about what I really wanted. I guess maybe if I didn't go through that route, I wouldn't be where I am today. It just reaffirmed that I needed to be focused on the Brazilian dogs, and that's what I did. That's it. Just, if I had to go back, maybe I would have just focused on the Brazilian dogs right away.
You have a question?
Aria,
Yes, Didi.
how did you find Klaus, and what made you decide that he was the one?
It was love at first sight. The minute that I saw Klaus, I thought, that dog is it. I need that dog. And it was on a reel on Instagram in 2021. Was it 2021 or the beginning of 2022? Sorry, it was the beginning of 2022. He was a year and something, a year and 4 months, because he came here a year and a half. And when I saw that dog, I just absolutely fell in love with him. And I said, that's the dog. I literally, I stopped and I said, I need to find this dog. And that was such a beautiful story, that I found the owner and the breeder. And they were people from a very small village in Brazil where there's barely any technology to get an ultrasound done. They very happy people. You see the videos. Claus was always with the kids in the village, small village, always the same people around him, but he was so loved by that family and by the kids. They used to work their dogs. They still do. My big shout out, my big family in Brazil, Canil Rocha, Alex Rocha, Canil Rocha. That's who I got Claus from, please follow him on Instagram, Kennel Roach. I'm going to try to write it here. I don't know if this is exactly but he deserves all the love in this world. Beautiful people, Kennel Rocha MG #1. I think that's their Instagram. And just, I could have bought that dog, and I preferred not to buy it. I told the breeder, I said, this dog, he produced it, and he was a freak. And he didn't have any credit in Brazil because he didn't really have the traits that the Brazilian dogs, that the Brazilian breeders were looking for at that time. The Brazilian breeders didn't care for black fawns, just like the American bully breeders. They were running away from black fawns. And that dog, I don't see color. That's what I tell my clients. Don't breed color. There's a certain point in your breeding career that, yes, you have to plan color, because color is important for the market. But you don't select color before you select structure or wow factor or health or temperament. You always have to prevail other things first. So when I saw Claus, he was love at first sight. I said, I have to talk to these people. I called him the next day and I said, I want your dog. And he said, oh, I don't sell my dog. And I said, are you sure? And he says, I mean, I can think about it. And I said, no, I have a better idea. Would you? And then I talked to him for a little bit, and I noticed that I could have bought that dog, for $10,000, I could have bought him. But I said, hey, Alex, I have a better proposal for you. Instead of selling me Claus, why don't we do a partnership for 1 year? Because he was very attached to the little girl too. And I said, why don't we do a partnership for 1 year and see how it goes, And I knew that as soon as I put my hands on that boy, he was going to be a phenomenon, because he was different. I had never seen anything like him. Even though I saw flaws, as a very structured, paranoid person, I saw a lot of flaws, but I didn't care, because when you have a freak, you have to choose. You either have a freak or you have a clean dog, a show dog. It's very difficult to have both. Every freak is probably going to have some flaws, and he had some flaws, like, his feet, his front feet, a little high rear, and he was super shy with new people, new environment. But once he got here, he was just, most people said, are you crazy? You're gonna get a black fawn? This is gonna be a disaster financially for you. And I said, just leave it. We'll see. Tell me that it's impossible. I just say, give me 5 minutes. And I brought the dog in. I did all the exams. We did hips, elbows. We did blood work, and we did 4 zoonosis diseases that we have in Brazil that are very common there, that I like to clear, and heart. He passed everything. And he came here. He lost a lot of weight. He didn't eat. He was very, very hard to eat, very shy dog. But he bonded to me very easily, because I was his first connection, to this new environment. And I told Alex, I said, hey, why don't we do a partnership, and everything that I make here for a year, I'll share half and half with you. I'll show all the receipts, all the contracts, everything. And for me, the joy of making that family enjoy the success of their dog was worth more than any money in the world. I could have just bought it. They could have just gotten $10,000, which was already a lot of money for them. But I was able to pay with the purchase price, because after 1 year, I purchased him. So we shared, for 1 year, I was able to pay him and give him a little bit more, $37,000 for Claus instead of 10. And he bought a ranch, and he bought a house where they live now, a beautiful place for the dogs. And that for me is worth more than any money. I get emotional every time I talk about them, because I know I could have just bought the dog. A lot of people could have told me, oh, you're dumb. But for me, being genuine and being like offering this type of situation for people is a lot more important than being not dumb or, intelligent or whatever, smart, savvy. I just enjoy so much. And now they have their home, they have, it's paid off, they have kennels, and that's all because of Klaus. At least he left, but he left something for them.
That's awesome.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
And somebody's asking me, how old was he when I got him? He was around a year and a half. That's how old he was. Just a second, guys. Let me see what's going on here. My dogs are barking.
Who is
Vito,
that?
I was just a quick question, Vito. When you do the embark, you're talking about Bearzilla. Our little girl is 2 times Bearzilla, and they're talking about being bulldog. Is that something that might show up in the embark?
Embark, all that breed profile stuff, it's not anywhere close to what they say as far as accuracy goes. Right. So yeah, I've seen some Brazilian bulls. I've seen one, I won't say who, came back 100% American bulldog. I know she's no way she's 100%. It's, there's not much of a database on them right now. So you to choose markers. I don't think they've even chosen markers. When they're looking at them, thinking they're XLs or American bullies, I think. Mm-hmm. When I sent mine in, I didn't say anything. I just sent them in. I don't know. Maybe they think they're American bulldogs because I have American bulldogs done, but that part I don't think is very accurate.
I think that they only base on what they have, so they don't have anything on the Brazilian dogs yet. So we have to start serving them with a lot of data so they can understand it.
You know what explains it really good? When all these human breed profiles came out with Ancestry.com, I had it done. I don't know, it was like 10 years, 15 years ago. And
did you do it?
I did it. And my parents my little brothers did our genealogy. My family's been in Sicily and Italy for, 15 generations. But so it came back. I was 72% Greek. They didn't even have Italian. They had Greek, Italian. They blended them. And that I have everything. I have African. I have Irish. I had all kinds of Swedish, all kinds of stuff. And then years later, they keep sending me these updates as the database gets bigger. And all these years later, they send me thing that says you're 97.8% Italian. So I imagine, I probably have all those things. Sicily is like a little island, and slave ships would go by, and if the guy would break the chain and jump off the ship, he'd go to Sicily and say, "No, I'm Italian." Or the Vikings were there, the Greeks were there, the North Africans were there. So everybody's kind of mixed up anyway. But even in humans, I think there was only one clinical study that they tested it because there was lawsuits. A lot of companies early on were doing, for African Americans, they were doing the test and trying to tell people where they were from. And people would send it into 3 different companies and get 3 different results. So there was a lawsuit. So they did a peer-reviewed clinical study, and they said those tests are about 60% in humans. They've never done anything on dogs. And trust me, they make so much money selling those breed profiles.
Did this company, they went bankrupt, didn't they? Recently?
23andMe did. I don't know about Ancestry. I even did my dad. I had my dad because I wanted to check it and think, okay, well, let's see. And it kind of panned out similar. My dad had a little more Irish in me than I do. So it's not that accurate, but it's a fun thing. And with people with dogs, everybody wants to, you get a dog that's a rescue, everybody wants to do that. Oh, my dog's this and that, but they're not 100%.
I think Embark is a great guideline, but it shouldn't be a Bible. They still have a lot of mistakes. They even say that some things are not.
On the breed profile part, it's not 100%. You shouldn't base any decisions on that. All the genetic testing, I imagine, is great, and all the color genetics, I imagine that's 100%.
Yeah.
It's just a little breed
But
profile that tells.
even on the health side, we see a lot of inconsistencies, and they come up with these, for at one time, all of the bullies had CRD4, and that does with a genoma that doesn't affect the bullies. You would explain that better, but now they don't come with that anymore. Now they come with mass MTC, I think it's called, tumor mast cell, something like that. So I think it's good to have. It's better to have it than not having it. But
Right. No, I was just curious. Like I said, I asked Vito about our new little girl. You know, she's 2 times Brazil. I don't know if you heard the question. Just, what if it started back, or they said that Bearzilla was part bulldog, would it show up? How far back does it go?
I don't know.
You
I
know,
think they say 3 generations, but I don't think that's it. I don't know.
yeah, I was just curious what where it went back, how far it went back, and where it stopped.
They say different things. Sometimes they say, oh, 3 generations. Then they say, oh, that may have come from 15 generations back. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's the whole idea of people think that dogs are pure, like they're different species of animals, but they're all related. All of them are related somewhere. So if you could do a breed profile, a boxer and a Great Dane have ancestors they share. So it makes me crazy because people get that and they think that's a breed test that validates their dog being breedable. But, if your dog has a bad temperament, if he's got a weak rear end, if he's stupid, if he can't breathe good, who cares? Who cares what the MBARC test says? If as far as breed profile.
Yeah, if the dog looks healthy and acts healthy and everything looks good, I mean,
I think this is a great topic for another because this is a whole episode for us to talk about.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
there's only one thing that I say about health testing and selection. I think that health testing is very important, and we have to do it. And I support and I encourage every breeder to do more health testing. I do health testing in all my dogs, and I do it for my own knowledge more than to sell it. Of course, market it, especially with the studs that I have, people want to see it and all. But I've always done it since Dogo Argentino. I was the first breeder of Dogo Argentino in Brazil to bear test every litter. In 2016, there was no availability of bear testing. I used to pay the only person that did it to fly 2 hours to my house with her equipment to do a bear test. If you don't know what a bear test is to make sure that they hear not only from the 2 years, but from 1 year, because we had a lot of bilateral or bilateral is when you have the 2 years that don't hear. And then when you have 1 ear only, what is the name in English? Only one side. That's where the problem lives. When
maybe unilateral, maybe?
Unilateral. That's it. That's the word I had it, but I forgot. Unilateral deaf puppies, that's the ones that give us the problems, because when you breed them, you don't really know that these dogs they can hear, because they show signs that they hear. So the bear testing was very important. And I always was very deep into health testing, but we're talking about a breeding formation. We're talking about a breed that is forming, and we have to try to select the best individuals to base the breed. But we cannot also be so by the book. Sometimes, when it comes to certain flaws, like bite, certain flaws like a top line, or little things that do not impact, or even entropion. For me, entropion is something that is aesthetic. It will not cause a dog to die or anything like that. And it's fixable. Of course, we prefer without it, but we're in the formation of the breed. We have to try to select more, focusing on what the dog has to offer, the qualities, than completely disqualify a dog from selection because of one flaw that is not impacting in a bad way, a quality of life or health. I don't know. That's just how I breed. But this is a whole new episode, Vito. I think we should put that in the list for the next time.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you have a question for Samba Kennels? I think you know everything about my life, but let's do it.
I don't know that I know everything. I guess a question that I have is, did you always see a split coming between the two breeds, between American Bullies and Brazilian Bulls or pit monsters, or did you think that it was something always?
Okay,
Sorry, Vito.
just so I understand it better, can you please say it again?
Did you always see a split coming in the two breeds? Did you always see it becoming American Bullies and something else, whether it was pit monsters or Brazilian Bulls? Did you always see that separation coming, or did you think that it was just going to...
I actually saw something totally different. I thought we were going to unite everything. That's what I wanted. I wanted to fix, in my breeding program, my idea was, I am going to fix the Brazilian flaws with the American Bullies, and I am going to fix the American Bully flaws, or add the substance and the mass with the Brazilian dogs to my program. This is my main focus was that. I always thought in the first year or two that that's what I was going to do. But then getting to deep and deeper in the breed and the history and the purpose of the breed, and getting to know these dogs and having these litters near me and talking to all these breeders and going to Brazil and seeing them in person, I started saying, we have to separate. I think it's better to separate and preserve both breeds, and preserve how they are, because they have their own talents, they have their own traits, they're beautiful, beautiful traits. And if we start mixing them, and I did mix them, and I got amazing results. Look at Claus and Lily's litter. That was a phenomenal, epic litter. The especially the females, they're amazing, all of them, and they produced. And I always said, third generation is going to be even better. The second generation, I mean. And look what I got here. I got Sultan, the one making the noises right here in the room, by the way. And I got Sienna, and I'm starting to see Claus grandkids all over. But I did go back to Brazilian, and that's my goal now, to go more and more back to Brazil and start merging to Brazil and focusing on the Brazilian line, even with the dogs that I do have American Bully registry. If I could, I would change everybody to Brazilian Bulls, because that's what they are.
I was going to ask too, with that being said, what was, if you can talk about it, what was the process of bringing the dogs that you brought over, and why did they have to be registered as American? Well, I guess there wasn't the Brazilian Bulls yet, so they had to be American Bullies.
Yeah, at the same time, just like me and everybody else, when these dogs were being bred in Brazil at the same time that the XL American Bullies were booming here, there was a very thin line between what separated one from the other, and nobody really knew what they were. People from here, like even ABKC, they would receive the papers and they would look at these dogs, and they were very similar to the XLs. They would fit in the XL category, maybe because the XL category there's so much variety. I think that now there's it's clearer about what an XL should be. I think now it's even more, because the XLs is actually very new. It's still a breeding formation. The only difference is that the stud books were closed, and being closed maybe forced mixogenation and insertions behind, we know that, so So I think that there's so much variability of sizes and types that yeah, those dogs fit in because they were just one more category, but there was never like a real understanding of what was behind them until people started seeing them and understanding them and studying them, and then bringing to the attention of a BKC, hey, these dogs are not purebred, but
So
neither are the XLs
were
and
they?
most American bully breed categories. Anyways, it's just new. It's all new. The American bullies are very new. But anyways, they have their rules, and they had to change it at one point.
So they were
So,
registered. So the dogs you brought over, they were registered with the IBC already as Brazilian bulls. So you had to have them transferred.
no, they didn't have Brazilian bulls at that time. The dogs there, everything that was they didn't come from the American bullies. They came from the American pit bull terriers. That's the thing. They had some segments of the Brazilian dogs they had some pockets. That's the American bully pockets index line, the ones that came from Claus, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But basically they came from the American pit bull terriers, the large and the extreme pit bull terriers. So those dogs were selected for size and muscles, and they started calling them pit monsters instead of Brazilian bull. That didn't exist at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But the pit monsters movement in Brazil started growing, and more people were paying attention to them. And when we started paying attention to Brazil, and I guess especially because of me and how I brought them here and how I exposed them here, because I made sure that everyone knew that they were from Brazil. Some dogs were imported here before, but they were hidden. They were hidden because people didn't really want to show the source. And I understand, like I said in the other live, I understand why they did it. They were just protecting their assets and their future program, I guess, with some gems there, but not really giving the credit. But I am a Brazilian person, and I am in love with my people, and I know what they do and how they struggle. And I said, I don't think it's fair that these dogs come here and they change their names. So let's give credit where credit is due. So I started bringing these dogs. They started looking at them. They were called pit monsters. And then, as everybody knows, recently we had a meeting with ABKC, and we said, hey, can we separate the breeds? Can we make this breed pit monster become its own breed? But we know we need to change the name, because we cannot get a recognition with a name called pit monster. That sounds like a teenage name, But in Brazil, it's a beautiful name because it's an English word, so they don't really understand what it means. But we all know in English what it's like. So, we just told them they did a voting system, IBC, which is the mother club in Brazil. They did a voting system. There were like 500 or more breeders that are registered with IBC and the entities that are connected to them. And there's a voting system that is by the social security number for you to vote. So to guarantee there was only one vote per person. So they had Brazilian bully. That was actually my choice, Brazilian bully. They had Brazilian bull. They had colossal bully. They had some other weird options there. There was no way that this name could have the word pit or the word monster, because those two words are not acceptable if you live in an HOA or if you travel and go to an airline, for example, and you want to travel with your dog. Oh, I have a pit monster, or I have a monster bull, or I have a pit Brazilian, whatever. It's a no-no, and these dogs are so sweet and so gentle. It's not fair that they have such a weird name. So we had a voting system. 500 people voted. and Brazilian Bull won. So that's when Dave said, okay, now I can accept them. Now you guys have a name. There's a new standard. The standard was actually the one that we distributed for everybody. They adapted the standard to English, and since February, every dog that were imported from Brazil started being a Brazilian Bull. Can you guys listen to Sultan snoring here? Can you?
We can't hear him.
Is it not bothering you? Okay, because if he is, I'll put him in the other room. But just because it's super loud,
no,
he's sleeping deep here.
We have 3 over here that are snoring too.
I can't hear them.
Yeah.
Aria, it's almost a year. Is it about a year that ABKC separated them?
Yes.
It was last April. What you said you thought it'd be good, but what I thought a lot of American Bully breeders were complaining.
Say that again.
Didn't the ABKC say they determined they have to separate them, and they grandfathered in all the ones that were here already? But
no, it was actually something that we requested. They were having a lot of pressure from the XL Bully community to separate, especially when dogs like, Claus was already here. Then Champion Tractor, my dog, Atlas was the first. TMK's imported a dog called Atlas, a beautiful dog. He was the first Brazilian dog to become a champion. And then after him, Tractor was the second Brazilian dog to become a champion. And then TMK brought in Big John. Big John was the troublemaker. He was the dog that everybody's, had their eyes on him. And of course, the haters were like, man, this dog doesn't fit in the American Bully. He's an F1. He's a mix, blah, blah, blah. That's who I think was that triggered ABKC to do something, because I was already in talks with ABKC since the previous year. I remember I was in Bloomington, Illinois, the show that in Illinois. I was there and I talked to Dave. Champion Tractor wasn't even a champion yet, but he saw Tractor and he was like, and I said, yeah, that's my dog. He's going to be a champion this show, he's closing his points. And I said, and he's amazing. He said, yeah, he's amazing. He's breed type and everything. And I told him, come here. He's an F2. He almost closed his ears. Like he said, I cannot know that. Okay, let me walk away. And I said, he's an F2. He's from Brazil, and look what Brazil is producing. We need to do something. We need to either gather everybody or separate it. And we prefer separation. And he said,
but
yeah, we need
the
to do something.
ABKC instigated the split because other breeders were complaining.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Because according to them, their stud book has always been closed. Wink, wink. And they don't want a mutt or a mixed breed dog put in it or whatever. That's what I had thought I'd heard. Because I was getting into them right when the split, kind of like 6 months before the split started.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, what a dumb move. This is so dumb. They're very similar
separation?
dogs.
Sorry. What was the dumb move you said?
Splitting the breed, I think. But I mean, it worked out. I'm excited because
but imagine that if we didn't split, very soon we're gonna lose what Brazilian Bulls has the best. They are different.
Or you're gonna produce something better than both. But it's happened.
I don't know. I mean, we can, I just see that we lose every time. And I have examples in my house when we mix the two breeds. You see the difference. You see, I had Shaken Tetra, 75% Brazil, 25% American Bully. And at the same time, I had Shake and Buchanas, 100% Brazil with the same sire, completely two different dogs on the other side. And look at the difference of the dogs. Look at my Mona Lisa or your Millie or Smoke, and look at Sultan. Sultan is an American Bully. He's a very bully type, and he's only 25% American. But the Mastiff traits are very, very dominant, and it will wash out the traits that are the best trait in the American Bull.
This is how I look at it. This is how I look at it after 30 years of, messing with the breed that kind of started similar. The American Bulldogs 40 years ago, it was a composite breed that, the pedigrees were bullshit. It was all lie. You may have been breeding a Catahoula pit bull bred to a English bulldog. You don't know, but so I came from that breed, and I evolved in my thinking. And the thing that excites me about Brazilian bulls, and I'm not going to rule out using an American Bully. I'm not going to rule out using anything that they allow me to use, because there's no recipe. It's not like baking a cake. You can't say Claus may be bred to 3 females, and then he's bred to that one XL female that just changes everything. You can have siblings that are bred the same to different, same blood, same dog, whatever, and it's different. So Brazilian dogs are right now, we're a huge universe of genes that are just flying around. They haven't settled yet. American Bullies, people think, oh, they're pure, they're this and that. No, they're the same thing. The only problem with them is they don't know. We don't really know where you're pulling from, or how many. If this dog has English Mastiff, 12.5% English Mastiff, or if it's got 25% English Bulldog or whatever, you don't know. And maybe it's some of it may be back far, but obviously people are crossing things even recently, because I can remember 6, 7, 8 years ago, Merle dogs, in the beginning, Merle dogs didn't exist, and Merle is not something that lurks in the back of a breed and comes up after 13 generations of breeding them a certain way. So they're being crossed. But the nice thing about it, the Brazilian dogs, Brazilian registered dogs, because they allow an F1 to the 4 main core breeds, is we have all the tools open. If I produce a dog that's incredible and that genetically throws his traits, or I can line breed him or do something to throw his traits, it's like the Wild Wild West. The best is going to survive. The toughest is going to come to the top. And that's what I think. I think a lot of people get bogged down. When I was young, starting out too, I thought the same way. It's like, oh, that's a crossbreed, that's a mixed breed, or that's this and that's that. They're all, at this point, every American Bully, even American Bulldogs, it's still kind of a composite breed. It wasn't a dog that, dog breeds sometimes are developed over 3,000 years of hunting or whatever. The selection for a certain thing makes the breed. So we're just like at the infant stage. And the big advantage we have, when you go Brazilian, is it's the sky's the limit. We have every tool. We can outcross, we can inbreed, we can put more of this type of dog in, a little bit less, and we can experiment. And that's what, like Bearzilla, I guarantee you those guys did not know that he was going to turn out the way he was. I mean, they probably saw some dogs and doubled up on whatever, and bam, he was a breakthrough. He was like a outlier. And now he is like kind of of anything that you can find, he's kind of the foundation. I mean, at least from my research, I don't know everything because I haven't researched all the pedigrees, but immediately when I got into dogs, that's why I wanted to kind of figure out where do these dogs come from? How are they line bred? What are they? what is the percentage of these dogs, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And they're different. And look how being open to different dogs and different methods and being open with the crosses, look what it created. I mean, Brazilian dogs aren't perfect, but even the people that hate them, they have to admit they are not like anything else. Like the muscle mass, just the thickness of the dogs.
But Vito, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you, maybe if we talk about older generations, I'm sure that there is Mastiff in the American Bulldogs, like you know, I've been learning a little bit with you, but we're talking about the older generations. But when we talk about the last 4 or 5 generations, I think that the purity of the muscle quality in the Brazilian Bulls is the fact that we don't have any Molosser breeds or not Molossers, I'm sorry, Mastiff breeds, because you see in the line of the dog, you see longer dogs, you see taller dogs, and you see lines that you don't see in these dogs. The muscle definition it has, and the density of the skin. The density of the skin of my puppies is very different than the American Bully puppies. Mind you, Shake has American Bully, so he has a little bit more of that tendency of having, you know, some Mastiffy traits in his bloodline, but most of his puppies, even though, for example, he still throws American Bully type with an American Bully girl, I just absolutely love the thin coat and the cuts that these dogs have on their bodies. And that's what makes them different.
I think the difference is the percentage of Mastiff and the type of Mastiff and how far back. I think
and how far back, yeah.
Brazilian dogs, like they say pit bull, but Camelot dogs today are probably higher percentage. But the dogs that they started with, that Chief and I forget the other one's name, but he was like 110 pounds, 90 pounds, 110 pounds. That's not a pit bull. There's something in there that was bigger. And I think it's a smaller percentage. And I think that rippy muscle and the muscle mass, it comes from the pit bull. And believe it or not, I think it sometimes can come from a percentage of English bulldog too. I don't know why. It's not like there's that many English bulldogs walking around ripped. But when you outcross them and you cross them to pit, for some reason, they get the bulkiness. I know it because I had it I started with it in my dogs, and I used to look at them and think, where did this come from? Because I didn't see it in a lot of American Bulldogs back 30 years ago, and it's like they're kind of tight and ripped like a pit, but they're so thick. They have a lot of muscle. Game bred dogs, they have muscle, but they're like a boxer, but they have their muscle isn't huge, bulky muscle. It's like a race car muscle.
Let me answer.
Where it is.
Sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Are you done, or did you want to continue?
No, I'm done.
Sorry. Patrick Bates, that's your friend that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. He's like the freaking expert. If you want to know anything about weight pull, pit bulls, all going back 25, 30 years, he knows it all. Like, he'll show you pictures of weight pulls and video. I mean,
Patrick is very, very active in the Brazilian Bulls Nation Facebook group page. If you guys have Facebook, please follow Brazilian Bull Nation that Mr. Vito started not too long ago.
I think we're at 3,000 or 4,000 people now.
Wow. He's asking, I thought ABKC only allows Brazilian bulls to be bred to other Brazilian bulls, or are you talking about using the Brazil registry to mix in? No, we're not talking. I mean, if that question was to me when I was talking about my Brazilian bulls with American bullies, I meant my Brazilian bulls that were imported as American bullies, and they were bred to American bullies then, because that was before last year when the registry changed. If that's for me the question, Patrick. Adam, Brazila has Boogie in his third, fourth generation. I believe Blue Boogie was father of Muscle Tones Magoo too. That's an
Yeah, I
interesting
figured
fact.
the percentage of that dog is like, I think it's 6.75%. So he has him in there, but he's not line bred. It's a very small percentage.
Okay, now I want to see if you guys have any questions for us here about the Samba story that I want to answer you guys in the comments. But before I answer you, I want to thank everyone that's been coming here on Thursday nights to see us, to talk to us, and showing all this love, this amazing community that we're growing every day. And I cannot thank you enough for the support, for the amazing time that we have together here every Thursday. And mind you, if you guys don't do yet, please follow my partners, Samba family. We have Samba Kennels Florida in Instagram, Samba Kennels Midwest with Vito, Tony and Didi, Samba Red River, Samba_Red_River, correct?
Yes.
And we have Miss Lauren with Samba South. She has a beautiful Puma and Knuckles litter. Oscar has beautiful Vitello litter with Nebula, the first Vitello litter. And it's all solid colors and tries. We don't have any white dogs. If you wanted, I'm sorry, the untold white dogs. And headquarters here, we have 2 litters with, one is a Brazilian bull litter, registered Brazilian bull, Cafeína and Mombrusos. He's a beast. I just learned that Mombrusos is 150 pounds almost, 2.5 years old. And Cafeína, she's very tall. She's about 23.5 inches tall, and those puppies are going to be very tall. We started the picks this weekend, or today, and I think by the weekend we're going to be finished. And also I have Champion Tractor, and I have Tetra, the same mother of Sultan, but instead of being bred to Shake, she was bred now to Champion Tractor. The puppies are amazing, and I have 7 males, guys, and I have some males are still available. And I'm telling you, the males are crazy. Like, there's one that's the same face as Tractor, and he's gorgeous. I'm just so in love with those puppies. So we have a lot of puppies at Samba family right now. I think that we're going to give it a break. Probably everybody's going to give it a break. So after this semester, we're only going to have in the next semester. So don't waste your time. But there's some news coming. We had a meeting with Beatrice from IBC today, and Bruno, my good friends from IBC. We have some great news coming towards the end of the year from IBC. What else? What news can I bring to you guys? You guys have any news you want to talk about? Lauren, Tony, Oscar, Vito? Been working hard, sleeping little.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially Lauren, I imagine. She says it's getting easier though, right, Lauren?
Yes. Oh, we're going to be at Shawnee's show this weekend.
Yes. Yep.
We're planning to go.
Yeah.
And if you guys are in Oklahoma or in Texas or the nearby areas and you want to meet us, talk to us, we're going to be there. And I can't wait to be there again, because it's been such a long time since the last time I went to a show. It wasn't nationals in December, but I like going to smaller shows and actually talking to people. I was hosting a whole bunch of Brazilian peoples at nationals, and I didn't really have the time to enjoy the show and watch the show and talk to people. But this time I think it's going to be a little more fun. We're going to go, Tony and Didi and Lauren for sure. Vito, we're trying to bring him to the show, but he said he's too busy.
It's 7 hours from my house. I thought, but I don't have anybody to watch my puppies.
I was going to say, you better leave now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hey
all. That's
guys, let
all
me see if I can read the Instagram messages. Everybody here from Instagram, I'm sorry if I'm late with the messages because there's so many. They write everybody that's joining the live, but they actually just going through. Just if you scroll, it shows. So I can't really see the messages here. Question. So does a registry matter if all of these accurate statements, the Bose Inc., why would it not matter? I mean, I don't know if I understood your question. If all these dogs are just being bred to create dogs, American and Brazilian, pedigree, the Bose Inc., I mean,
You're
how
reading
was
them
every
backwards.
breed?
That's why it's
How,
confusing.
how was every breed formed? I mean, of course it matters. It's just you know, every breed has a beginning. Sorry, Lauren, what did you say?
I said you're reading those comments backwards. You're going from bottom to top. That's why it's more confusing for you.
Oh, am
Because they
I?
asked the original question, which was, does a registry even matter if all of the statements that we have made are accurate? If they're bred, if all the different breeds are being bred to create, which you just answered, all breeds start with separate breeds.
Okay, are you talking
and then,
about Instagram?
yeah, that's what he was saying. He was asking,
Okay,
that's
maybe
the
I
question
read.
that he
Yeah, I
asked
read it.
originally. And he asked,
Okay, I read it backwards because I'm going. I'm sure I'm going in the right direction here, but I think I read one and then the other one. You're right. What do you think, Lauren?
I think that registries are very, very important. I mean, it is where all breeds started. Obviously, all breeds have different breeds in them to create the breed that you want. They breed one thing to another thing. Otherwise, everything would be a wolf or a coyote. I mean, there had to be other things put in to create the different breeds. And so I think that once you get to the genotype and phenotype kind of that you want, and you get the dog that is doing what you want it to do, that creates a breed. And that needs to be, then that dog bred to that dog as far as creating it and making it, have different generations and I guess a wider reach. I think that registries are very important.
I agree
Do
with
you
you.
guys agree, Tony and Didi?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like she said, it all started, but from different breeds to create one breed in itself. But yeah, I mean, I think somebody made a comment earlier. It's got to be very selective to keep the breed what it is. You don't want to you don't want to keep inserting other breeds, into the deal, and that's why they keep the registries the way they have them. You can't just continue to implement other breeds, different breeds into
It's
it.
almost saying like, oh, we cannot create new breeds anymore. Well, if there is demand for a breed or improvement of a breed, why not create a new breed if there's the demand for that? As long as it's a breed based on a standard, we have a standard, we have health testing, we have amazing individuals being the base studs of this breed, and we have a lot of people wanting to have that kind of dog in their houses. So that's what makes a breed. The market demand, the function, either the function or the market demand. These are pet home dogs. They are made, they don't have a function. They're not supposed to be guardians, but they do the guarding pretty well, actually. I have my dogs here. They will scare away. They are not supposed to be guardians, but they can perform some guarding. They are not hunters, but they can do some hunting. My dogs are always hunting little things around here, squirrels, and
Food around here.
they are not supposed to be service dogs, but I've seen a lot of dogs that are, Brazilian bulls are service dogs. They have great temperament for that. So basically, this is not a breed formed to serve a function, a working function when it comes to protection or stuff like that. But why is not being a pet consider a function. For me, is the most the most used function in the world. Every pet dog has this function of emotional support or companionship for their owners. It's the most used function right now, more than any other function. I rarely see dog Argentino hunting as we used to. It's everywhere that you try to hunt is forbidden, you know. So the market demand is what determines, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, what determines a new breed is the market demand. And you do need a registry, as well as you need a government in any city or in any state to set the rules so it's not a mess. You know, this is how I see it. And yes, we are allowed to make new breeds as long as there's demand and there's regulations. That's my point of view.
I'd answer, but it would take way too long.
You can try to answer it.
My view is more controversial. I'll just say this. Okay, how many generations are the American bullies in, and how many generations are the Brazilian bulls in? Let's say you have a perfect dog, the dog that you want to base the breed on. You want to reproduce his type or his temperament. And imagine you throw it on an island, and the only people there are relatives of his or distant cousins or something. How long is it going to take for the breed to degrade? You know, breeds of dogs, you know, have been around for thousands of years, types and breeds, and it takes longer than just 3, 4, 5, 6 generations. So you need to keep genetic diversity. You need to keep all the tools on the table, because if you don't, you're fooling yourself, you know. And why do people get all freaked out about this stuff? Like, my dog's pure, I want him pure. No, there's no pure. These aren't different species. These aren't, you know, different breeds that come from different planets. They're all related. They're all different from selection and different breeding methods and just the luck of the draw, you know. So it takes a while to make a breed and perfect a breed. And that's what I'm interested. I'm interested in producing a really good dog. If it's a F2 or an F1, or if there's a giraffe 7 generations back, I don't care. You know, and this breed isn't bred for a purpose as far as like working, but it is bred for a purpose. People want a big freaky monster looking dog. They want a dog that is chill, easy temperament, and they want a dog of a certain size and type. So those are parameters. Anybody, you know, if there's competition, guess whose dog's going to get bred? The guy that produces the best dog. And that should be the thrust. Registries are great. You know, I think the IBC is very progressive, way, way, way more progressive than most, because they do allow outcrosses. They understand that, hey, you know what? We need F1s. We need all the tools on the table to make a good breed. And they understand we're in the infancy stage. But I mean, these people that, like with American bullies, the stud book's been closed. There's never been an F1 allowed. There's nobody that says that, but they're not UKC pit bulls anymore. There's a lot of things that were crossed in. It's just we don't know. There's no documentation. So registries are great. They're great for keeping track of, you know, pedigrees. They're good for writing the standard, but the breeder's the guy that's going to make the dogs. It's not a recipe. It's the breeder that has to do it. And breeders are all full of shit, and we all love our dogs. So we need competition. The competition, you know, people that are afraid of competition are going to hurt the breed. So I just think, open your mind, start thinking a little different about how the dogs are, you know, what's pure and what's not pure. I mean, you can have a breed standard, obviously, you know, and the IBC they won't let you breed anything into the dogs. They have to be one of those 4 breeds. And I don't think people realize how progressive, how out of the box in this world that is. And people are like, oh, they should never do that. Our dogs have to be pure. Well, I got news for you. They do it. They do it in every breed. You know, they have to, because some of these breeds, they run out of genetics. You think that you crossed up this and that, and you got the recipe and you got a great dog, but you don't know till you start line breeding and trying to fix those traits what is going to pop out, where your breed's going to drift. You know, you might drift back to a pit bull. You might drift into an English bulldog with messed up feet and bad breathing. You might drift into a English Mastiff giraffe, as they say. You know, there's like these dogs, their genetics are like 17 roulette wheels spinning at the same time. How they're going to stop, you don't know. That's when you line breed, you're going to crunch down those odds. But you don't know when you crunch down the odds where that's going to lead you. It might lead you in a corner, in a hole. It may lead into a great dog. It may lead into crap. So that's what I say. It's just people need to, it's my opinion. People need to open their mind a little bit and, you know, quit worrying about, I don't know. I think it's just all people trying to say, well, my dogs are better because they're pure. My dogs isn't. No, your dogs are better because they're better. If they're better, they're better. You know, don't be afraid. If there's somebody making a better dog than me, go breed to it. We should breed to it. You know, people don't inbreed that much. I inbred. If you follow my American Bulldogs, I've inbred more than anybody, but I also outcross. And I also will, if it doesn't work, it's out of the breeding program. So I just think people need to open their mind a little bit and don't get so bogged down, because we have a whole example of breeds that didn't work out good. Just look at almost all the AKC breeds. You know, they have Dobermans have von Willebrand disease, cardiomyopathy. You know, they get a dog that lives to be 4 and it falls over dead in the woods because its heart is enlarged. And there's King Charles Spaniels that have their brain is too big for their skull and they go into convulsions. And those are weird things that happen from a faulty gene pool. And if you can't correct it, you're just going to, it's locked in and you'll never change it unless you outcross it.
Very good, Vito. Very good positioning. We love to hear you, and you have a lot of solid information and years of experience. And you come from a breed, you know, you've bred the same breed like me. We bred one standard breed for many years, and changing to a new breed like this one, it was hard for me to leave a AKC standard breed or a FCI, which is even more strict, standard breed, and merge to a breed that is full of mixes, and it's not really recognized, and it's not really, you know, it's recognized. It's not recognized. Just recently, the FCI accepted the American Bullies, and it's still in the group 11, which is a group that's like, it's kind of like a trial kind of, you know, just like the pits, they never really accepted. But now in Brazil, FCI in Brazil, which is called the CBKC, that they are seeing how much these dogs are being sold for, they started accepting the Brazilian Bulls, but they changed the name. They want it as another name, and they are not having any success with it. Because people don't, you know, the bubble of the Brazilian breeders, but the bull breeders, there's a community that we call the bubble. They don't care for standard breeds because they're so involved. And for me, I faced some sort of prejudice from the Dogo people when they saw me merging to the bullies, because of this message and, you know, this mixing and all of that. So it's not easy, especially for you, Vito. You know, you've been, and you're a very traditional breeder, but everybody can change. There's always room for change, and there's always room for improvement. And the best thing I've ever done, and I did amazing with the Dogos, but I never, when I got out of my comfort zone and put my hands into the XL bullies, and then automatically, to the Brazilian bulls, or the Brazilian dogs at the time. It was the best thing I've done in my life. And I'm talking about growth. I'm talking about getting out of my comfort zone. And I'm not talking about money. I'm starting to make money now. For many years, I put a lot more money in my breeding program than I made. Even with Claus being a success and all of that, I know how much money I invested in order to get where I am. But when it comes to personal satisfaction, I am the happiest that I am today. Like, I would have never learned as much if I had just stayed in the same breed that I was for many, many years. Do we have babies there, Lauren? Can I see them? Show them to us.
This is one of the chocolate tri-males. He's the biggest boy.
Oh my goodness, look at that. That's Puma and Knuckles. Line breeding on Claus. Beautiful puppy. Yeah. He's huge.
Amazing looking boy.
What's his name again? Is that Magnus?
No, this one is Gus. Augustus.
Augustus. Yes, Augustus.
He's a good looking boy, Lauren.
He is. He's the biggest boy. He was over 4 pounds last night. And they're 15 days old, I think.
Yes. So,
it's crazy how the Puma puppies are born big. Every litter, everybody that used Puma, they say that the puppies are very big. And Puma is not a big dog, That's curious. Sublime bullies. My friend Corey in California, adorable. Hi, Sublime. Thanks for jumping in. Guys, if you guys have any other questions that you want to ask us or ask me about the rise of the Brazilian bulls history, we're going to close this live in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Again, appreciate everybody for joining in. We're gonna try to be here every Thursday talking about a different topic. If you have questions, if you have ideas, please let us know. This live is going to be recorded and staying on YouTube in case you missed the beginning or the end, or if you want to share with your friends, please do that. We're very happy with everything that's happening towards, the Brazilian bulls and how the breed is being taking place here in America. And I do have some news for you, classified news that only comes from me. I'm just kidding, not classified, but we are having around, I would say, because I know everything that goes on with the Brazilian bulls, like the information just, people just call me to say things. We have around 5 to 10 Brazilian bulls being imported from Brazil every month. Every month. It's getting more and more that I know of. Imagine the ones that I don't know. I think this month we had like 20 or 30 dogs imported from Brazil to America. So if you're not seeing it, if you're not in it yet, don't waste your time. We're here. We're here to help. Talk to me. I can guide you. I can send you in the best direction. And if you don't want to go all the way to Brazil, we have beautiful Brazilian bull litters right here with Samba family. And we have some other breeders that are having Brazilian bull litters in the very, in the next few months here. So there's a lot of good quality, and you don't have to go all the way to Brazil if you don't want to. You can save that shipping cost, which is like $3,000-$4,000, and get a puppy with us. But other than that, other than those news, I guess we're gonna be seeing each other on nationals in Houston this year, and let's hope that a Brazilian bull will win. Do you think you guys think that a Brazilian bull has a chance of winning? I can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I like about the Brazilian shows is that we have best in show placement, number 4, number 3, number 2, and number 1. So you can be classified with a best in show up to number 4. I think we should have that here too. It gives so much more. It's more fun. It motivates people to participate. Another thing that the Bulls Inc. was talking about the registry, how important it is. Guys, the events is the most important thing for a breed. and for a community. Events put people together. Events makes you see what the breeders are doing. It's the showcase of the breed. It's the community at its max. Everybody's there together watching and cheering, and it's a good time, and it's educational. So yeah, that's it. I think that we should be having a lot of Brazilian bulls in the next year, because of the amount of animals that are being imported and the amount of litters that we're going to have in the next couple of years. So don't be too late. Now is the time. Everybody, I hate to say goodbye, but we're going to have to close it here because it is late. We've been for 2 hours almost. This is the longest live we've made.
Yeah.
Hard to give a short answer with all the knowledge you have. So much to learn from all of you. Thank you, Ernesto. And you guys, thank you again for joining us. Please stay tuned for the news, and I'll see you maybe next Thursday. Everybody's going to be here next Thursday.
Yep.
We'll be here.
We'll be here.
Lord willing.
All right. Thank you so much again for being here. I'm going to close tonight with our samba song because we have to.
Samba King.
Oh, you want the samba time, or do you want the?
Was that Ryan?
That was Ryan. Good night, everyone. Enjoy your night, okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Texas sunrise, Kennel gates, big dreams riding on the place. Brazil in my blood, boots in the dirt. Built this legacy with love and work. Samba Kennels, hear that call.